Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to Writing Composition class. Now, before we begin, make sure you have your writing packet out, something to write with, and a highlighter. When you are ready, you can go ahead and continue. Otherwise, if you don't have your materials, you can go ahead and pause, come back when you are ready. All right, so today we will Today we will discuss the importance of the conclusion, wrap up your essay, and identify conclusion elements in my example. So we're going to go ahead and do the same things that we've been doing through the beginning, middle, and end of this writing process with the identifying. That's why I ask you to grab a highlighter. If you don't have a highlighter, you can just use something colorful, like a pen or marker. Now let's go ahead and begin by reading our objective for today. Get ready. Students will be able to understand how to write a strong conclusion. So now that we've reached the end of the writing process, now it's our time to really end it on a strong note. So let's start with a discussion question. What should a conclusion do? Should it just be the part where you say, bye, hope you liked my essay? What should you do? Your conclusion should make your readers glad that they read your paper. So you want the person who read your paper to be like, wow, I really liked what that person had to say about, whatever the topic was. Your conclusion gives your readers something to take away that will help them see things differently or appreciate your topic in a personal way. And one way that you can achieve that is by you making a personal connection to the topic. If you make a personal connection to the topic, then the reader can see that and they say, wow, like this topic is really important to this person. Now, maybe it's important to me too. Something else your conclusion should do is the reader should feel informed as if they've learned something from you. And just to interrupt, I realized that something happened with the title on the top. I'm not sure why that happened, but it should say, what should a conclusion do? Again, the reader should feel informed. So after they read your paper, you want them to have learned something. Whether that was something that you explained that maybe the reader didn't know about, or maybe you were giving an example of a real life situation. So I'll give an example. So for the essay about writing about somebody you know with a special talent, and when you mentioned the special talent, what it was, maybe it was something that someone else doesn't understand. So for example, one of the students says she wanted to write about making slime. And I've never made slime before, so when she's writing about making slime, she's also informing somebody like me who's never made slime and doesn't really know anything about making slime. So in that moment, I learned something. I learned something about that person and what they like or their special talent, and I also learned about making slime because I don't know about making slime. So like we've been doing all week long, every paragraph has a checklist. We started with the introduction. Yesterday we worked on body paragraphs. Now today, since it is the conclusion, of course we have a checklist. So this is our checklist. Why is it not? You need... Your conclusion should have a transitional word or phrase right at the beginning of the conclusion. Tell how you feel about the topic. This is your last moment in the essay to really convince the reader that this topic is really important to you, or this is the part where you want to really add in that kind of emotion, excitement, or feeling to end it on a strong note. You should also restate your central idea statement or restating the prompt. You want to bring back what you mentioned in the beginning. You want to mention it one more time at the end. That way you're kind of like sealing the deal. You're framing your essay. Your introduction and your conclusion are the frame around your ideas, around your reasons. And then of course, last but not least, you want to end on a hope, wish, dream, or wonder. You want to end with something either calling the reader to action. So I'm going to bring it back to that story we read about insects are amazing. At the very end, they told us, I hope in the future, next time, you'll think twice about killing a bug. They're telling us they want us to do something. They want us to think twice about killing a bug. So that's something that you could certainly do in your writing. If you're writing about a city in Texas, because that's our topic this week. If you're writing about a city in Texas, maybe you want to encourage people to visit, or maybe you want to encourage people to travel more. So that could be something that you do at the end of your essay. So now let's go ahead and look at my conclusion, and we're going to do some identifying. So let me get my highlighters ready. Before we begin, I want you to pause the video, and this is what I want you to do while the video is paused. If you don't have your conclusion written out already, that's okay. Pause the video, and I want you to draft it out. You don't have to do it on the line paper. You can do it on the drafting paper or any other paper that you have at home. Draft out your conclusion, then come back and press play, and we can do some identifying. Otherwise, let's continue. So I'm going to go ahead and read my conclusion. For these reasons, my hometown in Texas will always be my favorite place because of the amazing nature and refreshing beach. In fact, sometimes you don't need to go too far from home to have an adventure. I encourage more Texans to explore what they have in their own backyard. All right, so let's see. Where is my transitional phrase or word? So if we need to start a paragraph with a transition, where is it? Can you see it? Yes, it is for these reasons. That's my transitional phrase. So I'm bringing together my reasons for the last time in my essay. And so that's why I said for these reasons. My hometown in Texas will always be my favorite place because, that's another transitional word, of the amazing nature and refreshing beach. And I'm going to use a different color because these are my reasons. I talked about the Wildlife Refuge Center, and then I talked about South Padre Island. However, I didn't mention them in the exact same way that I did in the beginning because I don't want to have repetition. I want to make sure that I'm mentioning my reasons one more time, but in a different, unique way. So that's why I said amazing nature and refreshing beach. And I also wanted to throw in a sensory detail. So when we think of refreshing beach, we think of something that feels good, it's fresh, maybe the water is cool. So that's why I wanted to make sure I added in a sensory detail. Okay, let's continue. In fact, that is a new transitional phrase from the new transition chart. In fact, sometimes you don't need to go too far from home to have an adventure. I encourage more Texans to explore what they have in their own backyard. So that's me telling other people that they should go and travel. And let me bring back that story about insects are amazing where they told us next time think twice about killing a bug. Now I'm telling people next time you should think about exploring what you have in your own city or area before you travel somewhere else. So that was my call to action. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight all of that because that is me ending on a hope, wish, dream, or wonder. So I'm going to put end on a, and I'm going to put my heart. I'm going to put my arrow. And I restated my reasons right here. So restate reasons. And then I said, will always be my favorite. And what was the topic of this essay? What were we supposed to be writing about? Writing about our favorite place in Texas. And did I say one more time what my favorite place was in Texas? Yes. I said it was my hometown, my favorite. So I went ahead and I stated my central idea statement again. I answered the prompt one more time. And now if I look at all of my components of my essay, I have done area all the way through. So I should be on my way to a pretty decent grade, wouldn't you say? Okay, so let's switch gears really quick. So, according to our checklist, we need to have specific elements. And something that I mentioned this week that was new was making a personal connection to the topic. So something you want to do when you're writing an essay is show the reader how important the topic is to you, right? Say it's your favorite. Describe it with sensory details. That way when the reader is finished, they say, wow, like this was really important to this person. For homework, you will develop your conclusion, and I want you to revise for sensory details, personal connections, and create a strong ending. So sensory details is something we've been talking about all year long. There is a sensory details file in the general section of our class teams that you can pull up to help you while you're writing. But anytime you're going to be describing something, you can always think about it and say, ooh, how can I replace that word? Instead of saying, I see things, you can say, I visualize things. Instead of saying, I said, you can say, I exclaimed, I whispered, I yelled. So there's different ways that you can say things in more descriptive words. So if you feel like you're done already, which I've already had students tell me that they're done, I want to challenge you to get 5 words in your essay. Get a thesaurus or a dictionary. You can use one online. That's totally okay. And I want you to replace 5 words with higher vocabulary words. So if that means changing a word from she said or I said, or I like to I love, I adore, I admire, that is what I want you to do. I want you to replace those words with something more descriptive, okay? Now, as always, if you have a question, please reach out to me. Send me a message. We can video chat. We can instant message, whichever works best for you. But make sure that you reach out to me if you have questions. And aside from writing, make sure in your free time that you pick up an AR book and make sure that you're meeting those goals because, guys, we still have Royal Reader goals to meet. So make sure that you are working towards those goals and make sure that you are spending enough time in every one of your classes, okay? That's all I have for you guys today. I can't wait to read your writing tomorrow.